Hello and welcome to PostScriptum Chapter 3, which has just recently been released on Steam. And it's been a long time since we've had boots on the ground here in PostScriptum, and with the new release we have gotten 2 new maps. We were expecting to get 3, but we've actually got 2. Utah Beach and Sainte-Mère-Église, and in this video we're going to be looking purely at one of the maps. We're going to have a quick look around, see what we think, and give you some thoughts on whether you should jump in straight away and get your boots on the sand. Let's go. Now, I won't be talking about the huge amount of updates and fixes that they've done, but just some of the things that we will add in here for Chapter 3. They have released 2 new maps, which is Quarantan, Utah Beach and Sainte-Mère-Église, but Quarantan will be coming later. They've also added an M10 Wolverine, the M18 Hellcat, the M24 Chaffee, used to be in armoured Gamemode, the M8 Greyhound, the Tiger 2, the Chevrolet truck, and Willys Jeep on the Normandy version. They've also added a new M1 carbine, an FG42, the M1 A1 bazooka, throwable satchels. They've added new invasion game mode and multiple destroyable objectives. They've added the landing system. They've added the 4th Infantry Division, the 82nd and the 101st Airborne. They've added the German 91st Infantry Division and the 6th, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it, Fährlich Regiment. And they've added more steerability to parachutes and revamped the system and the animations. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at Sainte-Mère-Église. Just to give you a little bit of a backstory of where we actually are here, Sainte-Mère-Église was the first town in Normandy that was liberated by the American paratroopers. Sainte-Mère-Église and its surroundings are a strategic area along the National Road connecting Cherbourg to Paris. It's a junction between 5 departmental roads. On the night of the 5th to the 6th of June 1944, the 82nd Airborne Division was experiencing difficulty in destroying the bridges on the River Douve and establishing a line of defence. The flooding of rivers was worse than expected. Sainte-Mère-Église was a key location in the line of defence along the road to Omaha Beach. During the Normandy invasion, 30 paratroopers landed in the town of Sainte-Mère-Église, including 20 on the church square. German soldiers hurled into the attack. Battle raged on for over 2 days. US forces' resistance was put to the test. The Allies were forced to defend many places simultaneously, including the bridges of La Fière and Chedupont. On the 7th of June at noon, reinforcement troops who had landed on Utah Beach were there to clear Sainte-Mère-Église. So the first thing, obviously, that's immediately inherent in this map is that there is constant flak going off, and this is very, very immersive, although I think after you've probably played on this map for an hour, maybe half an hour, you're going to have an headache. It is quite deafening. I've actually turned the volume down here in game. There's a real nice dusky sort of Band of Brothers feel to some of these little alleyways. I seem to have got a PostScriptum bug here where every time I fire my weapon it wants to reload, and this happens on the pistol as well, I've noticed. So it's beautifully moonlit, meaning that a lot of the infantry here are going to be hidden, sneaking away in these bushes. So I would imagine that on this map, team play and sticking with your squad are going to be absolutely integral. Especially you will need a medic, because I can imagine MG gunners and things like that on the corners of these bushes and lanes being very hard to see and very hard to get eyes on down some of these dark little alleyways. So here we are on the map, and as the 82nd Airborne, one of your objectives, or quite a lot of your objectives should I say, is to destroy the flak guns. And one of them is in front of us here, a huge flak gun and there is actually a German on there already, so we'll drop Jerry and we'll go over and we'll have a look at this emplacement. This is probably the 8.8 centimeter flak, and it is a German 88mm anti-aircraft and anti-tank artillery weapon. This was developed in the 1930s. It was widely used by Germany throughout World War II and was one of the most recognised German weapons of that conflict. The maximum ceiling height of this weapon was 32,000 feet, believe it or not. The effective range was around 8,000 or 26,000 feet. The rate of fire for this weapon, with a crew of around 15, was between 15 to 20 rounds per minute. So part of your objectives as the airborne will be to destroy these targets, and as you can see on the map here, there is quite a lot. Now, whether this actually affects the multiplayer and the aircraft coming in, maybe reduces your chances of getting killed in the air by the flak guns, but as you can see, this is one of the barrage bases, and as we move up here you can actually see the empty casings, so I can get my teeth back in here, that have been dumped in one of these little cut-out dugout areas. So let's jump up further into the map and see what we can find out there in the darkness. So as you can see on the map here, we're now at to push down the main road in towards the town. And I think the actual audio in this game now, this level, when it's punching away with a flak gun, I don't think anybody could really appreciate how terrifying it must have been, not only for the Allies, but also for the Germans as well. It must have been absolutely terrifying to be involved in World War II, and I honestly don't think that World War II veterans get enough respect. Well, they certainly do from the armed forces, and a lot of us who are very patriotic. But as I've mentioned in my other videos, my Sainte-Mère-Église video, that a lot of the Germans are due some respect as well. Not all the infantry was aware of what was going on in the gas chambers and Auschwitz and what was, back in Germany. A lot of the German infantry had no idea. They were told to fight for their country just as we would, and I would gladly die for Queen and country. These Germans, they did the same thing. So I don't think it's right to put the Germans as always the evil axis. I think it's just wrong. But maybe that's just part of my generation. A lot of these millennial snowflakes, they stub their toe and they want to go to hospital and get in intensive care and have warm milk and cookies. It's pathetic. I think these millennials should sign up for 2 years conscript. That'll certainly teach them how to be men. Anyway, here we are with another one of the German flak guns, and I think this is either the Flak 30 or the Flak 38, and I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of this, but it's a Flak Vierlinger or Flak Vierling. It is a 2 centimeter flak gun. Now, this Flak 30, if it was, is an improved from the Flak 38, and both were 20mm anti-aircraft guns used by various German forces throughout the World War II. It was not only the primary German light anti-aircraft gun, but by far the most numerously produced German artillery piece throughout World War II. This gun's effective range is around 2,200 metres or 2,500 yards, and its anti-aircraft capability, its maximum firing range was actually around 5,000 to 6,000 metres, and that was ground range against infantry and vehicles. The rate of fire of this flak gun is between 280 and 450 metres cyclic, depending on the settings that the infantry had actually set this up for. The shell is a 20 by 138mm grenade. So here we are moving down one of the main streets here, the Normandy Lemonade, famous Café du Normandy. And incidentally, this village was occupied by around 60 German soldiers of the 191 Artillery Regiment or 91st Infantry Division. The Germans used the church tower as an observation post, and on a clear day they could see all the way to the sea. Far away from an expected invasion near Calais, they did not know that the village was the southern edge of D-Day's drop zone C. After a heavy coastal bombardment by Allies just after midnight on June the 6th, 1944, the first American paratroopers were dropped in dark early hours over the then occupied Normandy. Plans were for the 506th, the 3rd Battalion of the 501st and the 101st Airborne Division to land by parachute into Zone C, behind Utah Beach. They were responsible for clearing a route for thousands of soldiers arriving by sea from England. A thick fog bank and heavy flak from coastal guns forced pilots away from their targets and left paratroopers in unknown territory. Some facing enemy fire while they were still in the air. Just 2/3 of troops designated for Drop Zone Z were accurately dropped. A number found themselves landing in and around Sainte-Mère-Église and quickly fighting for their lives with the rather surprised Germans. So let's just come here and have a look inside the church. And I'm not bashing this game at all, but I do think that the art and the assets in Hell Let Loose are far beyond anything that is in PostScriptum, and I'm sure I'm going to get some hate for that. But equally, on the flip side, this game seems to run a lot better. It's a lot smoother for me anyway. I know a lot of people have a lot of problems with PostScriptum, but Anders, who does the audio in Squad, his work is just, I think, world class, because the audio, there's actually a German player there. Let's go over and see if we can kill him. There is a real sense of power and crunch and a visceral, it's hard to put into words. I think you know what I mean about the audio. Whereas some of the audio that's in Time to Run Away, some of the audio that's in Hell Let Loose, I think is a little bit flat and weak. But I'm sure both games are going to be working on their strengths. I do think, again, that Hell Let Loose, the environments, the interiors, the grittiness of the mud and the road and everything just feels far more realistic to me. But any World War II game that's going to be authentic historically gets a massive thumbs up in my book. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a quick look at Sainte-Mère-Église here in PostScriptum for the new Chapter 3 update. I will be covering the other map, which is Utah Beach, and of course I will be looking at the new map Carentan when that is finally released, and I may even start to do a little bit of multiplayer, and you're more than welcome to join me. So thumbs up, subscribe, like and share if you'd like some more, or any suggestions or anything I could do for Hell Let Loose or PostScriptum, or anything you think might be of interest, then please do let me know. Massive respect to all the veterans and people who lived, survived and died in World War II. I think you lot are probably in the same boat as me. Thanks for watching. I shall see you in another video coming real soon. Bye bye.